Well, there were really two themes. One was improving the Europe's railways, where there's a need for the infrastructure managers to sort themselves out, get rid of the bottlenecks, get some more investment from their governments. And everybody's got to push the governments for more investment in the railways so that we can get more reliable transport and more cost-effective transport. The other things which the railways need to do better is to tell their customers where the trains are, where the cargoes are, when it's going to be ready, key performance indicators, and we've had a bit of discussion about that too. It is getting better, and the Commission's latest piece of legislation, called the Fourth Railway Package, is going to improve all this quite a lot more and mean there'll be some good competition on the railway, because competition breeds better quality of service and lower prices and things like that. So that's the first thing we talked about, and the second thing was new routes to China from Europe for Azerbaijan. And we had a very interesting presentation from somebody from Azerbaijan who's developing the new lines. He's a shipper, so he's got all the freight you could possibly need, and he's explaining all the routes between different parts of Europe and China, including some enormous rail ferries across the Caspian Sea and across the Black Sea as well. And they're expecting, they say, they'll have a capacity for something like 30 million tons a year when it's all finished. They're doing much less at the moment, just sort of one train a day at the moment, but even that with 40 wagons on it is quite good. It's a competition between the southern route, which is what he was describing, and Russia, the Trans-Siberian, and there's a blockade in Russia at the moment, and that you can't take certain goods because of the trade embargoes. So this is another route to the south of Russia to take some of that traffic, and it's really ending up as a kind of two competitive routes, which is wonderful for the customer, and they're all working very hard to make it seamless with minimum border delays and things between all the different states, between China and, shall we say, the Black Sea. And I think there's an enormous potential there, and of course there's also Iran, which is connecting into it now, and into the port of Bandar Abbas and down there, which is transforming the ability of rail to operate between Europe, China, Russia and Iran. And it's going to make rail competitive. It's much cheaper than air, it's more expensive than sea, but it's quicker than sea. And there's a sort of middle demand, which I think is going to grow over the next 10 years into something quite exciting. I think it's a commercial viability now. It just takes a little bit longer because the links are not quite finished, but they're going to be finished in the next 2 or 3 years, we've been told. And then, you know, it's a question of how important your journey time is compared with the price. The reliability sounds good, and it's good in the Trans-Siberian now, I think, too. So it's adding a different dimension to the trade in the whole area, which I think is really positive, actually. Well, this is intermodal, which is one part of rail freight. It's a very important part of rail freight because to some extent it's also the long distance. It does do short as well, but it's mainly the long distance movement of goods where the competition with road is particularly important. Everybody's talking again about putting some constraint or tax or charge on road because of its environmental disbenefits. We in the rail industry have to demonstrate that we can actually perform as well or as better than road, give the customers what they want, and that's what we're all trying to do. And I want us to be able to perform really well without massive subsidies, but I want it to be fair. And if you're getting a free ride on the road, then you get a free ride on the rail. I mean, it's got to be balanced. And I think the European Commission is moving in that direction. It's going to publish something next year, which will be a start. But rail's got a lot to do to improve its customer service and sort out frontier problems, sort out languages at frontier. I mean, why have we got to have separate languages requirements at every frontier in order to have rail safety. That's the reason. But the trucks don't have to have separate languages at each frontier. The truck driver, he speaks whatever language he does speak, and he gets through. So all these things need balancing to make it fair and competitive, but the politicians have got to go with it and lead it.